Now, I want everybody to take a look at this pledge to America. It's interesting, they put it out with great fanfare, but now nobody's really talking about it. But let's examine their pledge. For starters, it turns out the pledge was actually written, in part, by a former lobbyist for AIG and ExxonMobil. Now, you can't make this stuff up. All right, so they helped write this thing. The centerpiece of the pledge, their big idea, is a $700 billion tax cut for the wealthiest 2% of Americans. That's their big idea. So, how many folks here make more than $250,000 a year? Just show of hands. You need to donate to Martin O'Malley's campaign.
Yes, indeed. You have to raise your hand.
For the rest of you, their idea isn't much. I mean, these are the folks who want to lecture us on fiscal responsibility. They want to borrow $700 billion. And then they want to give out tax cuts worth an average of $100,000 to millionaires and billionaires. And when you ask them, well, where are you going to get this $700 billion? They don't have it. They don't have an answer. They don't have an answer. They don't know. I guess we'd have to borrow it from China. But when you look at the pledge to America, it turns out they do have an idea about how to pay for a small portion of it. They want to cut education by 20%. That's a cut that would reduce financial aid for 8 million college students, including a whole bunch of college students right here at BSU. Now I want to just focus on this for a minute because here in Maryland, you understand how important education is to our economy, how important it is to our future. Martin O'Malley knows that too. His opponent raised college tuition in this state by 40% when he was in charge. This is at a time when the economy was doing better. Now, even in the toughest of times over the last 2 years, Martin O'Malley froze in-state tuition. So he kept the cost of his school and other schools affordable for Maryland's families. And thanks to his unprecedented investment in Maryland's education, as I said before, you've been ranked the best when it comes to public schools the last 2 years in a row. That's what Martin O'Malley does. He walks the walk, doesn't just talk the talk. Now, but we can't maintain this progress if our opponents have their way. At a time when the education of our country's citizens is one of the biggest predictors of economic success. They think it's more important to give another tax raise to folks who don't need them and weren't even asking for them than to invest in our young people. Let me ask you, I want to ask my Republican friends a question here. Do you think China's cutting back on education right now? Do you think South Korea is making it harder for its citizens to get a college education? Those countries aren't playing for second place. And guess what? The United States does not play for second place. We play for first place. We're going to make investments in you. As long as I am president, and as long as Martin O'Malley is your governor, we will not allow politicians in Washington or Annapolis sacrifice your education for tax cuts we can't afford. That is the choice in this election. Barbara State, the rest of the folks up on this stage, we've got a different idea about what the next 2 years should look like. And it's an idea rooted in our belief about how this country was built. We know government doesn't have all the answers to our problems. We don't believe the government's main role is to create jobs or prosperity. We think government should be lean. We think it should be efficient. That's why Martin actually cut spending by $5 billion. He's reduced the size of government in this state. That's why I've proposed a 3-year freeze instead of a bipartisan fiscal committee. legislation to deal with our deficit. But what we also understand, in the words of the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, is that government should do for the people what they cannot do better for themselves. I think we might have had somebody faint down here, so if we got the paramedics right here up front, everybody's pointing at them. Now, they'll be all right, just make sure that you give them some space. And if somebody has a bottle of water, you might want to get it to them. Look, we believe in a country that rewards hard work and responsibility. We believe in a country where we look after one another, where we say, I am my brother's keeper. I am my sister's keeper. That's the America I know. That's the America Martin cares about. That's the choice in this election. Instead of tax breaks for millionaires and billionaires, we want to make permanent the tax cuts we gave to middle-class America. Because you deserve a break. Instead of the other side's plan to keep tax breaks for companies that ship jobs overseas, we want to give tax breaks to companies that invest right here in the United States of America. The small businesses, American manufacturers, American clean energy companies. I don't want solar panels and wind turbines and electric cars built in Asia or built in Europe. I want them made right here in the United States of America by American workers. Instead of cutting education, cutting student aid, we want to make permanent our new college tax credit. This is a credit worth $10,000 in tuition relief for every young person going to 4 years of college. That means you, Bowie State. We will fight to keep the reforms we've made to the student loan system. Thanks to those reforms, tens of billions of dollars in taxpayer subsidies that would have gone to big banks are now going to where they should. To students like you. If the other side wins, they'll try their hardest to give free rein back to the insurance companies and the credit card companies and the Wall Street banks that we're finally holding accountable. We can't let them do that. We can't go back to the days of taxpayer-funded bailouts or when credit card companies could just jack up your rates without reason. We can't go back to the days when insurance companies could just drop your coverage because you're sick. We've got to keep in place the new law that says if you're out there looking for a job or have one that don't offer you coverage, you should be able to stay on your parents' insurance policy until you're 26 years old. That's the choice in this election. That's what's at stake right now. So Maryland, it comes down to this. A lot of folks running in the other party, these are the exact same people who spent the last decade driving this economy into a ditch. And so, for the last 20 months, me and Martin, and Steny, and Barbara, all these folks, we have gotten down into the ditch, put on our boots. We're down there, it's hot. We were sweating, bugs everywhere. We're down there pushing on the car. Every once in a while, we look up and see the Republicans standing there. They're just standing there fanning themselves, sipping on a Slurpee. We'd say, come on down and help. They say, no, that's all right. So they say, you're not pushing the right way. You got to push faster. And we just kept on pushing and pushing. And finally, we got this car up on level ground. Finally, we got it up on level ground. Now, this car is a little beat up now because they drove it into the ditch. It's got some dents. Needs a tune-up. But it's pointing in the right direction. We want to start back on that road to prosperity. But suddenly we feel this tap on our shoulder. We look back. Who is it? It's the Republicans. And they say, we want the keys back. And tell them you can't have the keys back because you don't know how to drive. You don't know how to drive. We'll give you a ride if you want. But you got to sit in the back seat. We'll take you to prosperity, but you got to sit in the back seat.